particular thing. I'm not going to take whiskey from you. I'm going to give you whiskey. Don't give me any nonsense,
that's right.
James. All right, we'll talk about that later.
So that's Michael's telling us he owes us because we've given this to him.
Right. I mean, I'm trying to do something nice for people that.
Well, just hold on.
I feel bad.
So Mr. Fribley and I can happily say that it's been very useful. So the fact that we're doing this because of a remarkable friendship and sense toward you has enabled us to be teachers. Which is actually, Mr. Fribley, isn't that true in life? That really, that our friendship with you, Michael, is a kind of thing that enables us to share what we love. And you can't do it without the friendship first. Which
every good man is an educator.
Well, so we have Tacitus, we have, oh my God, who were you joking about? Moliere? I forget who it was. But we have Augustus in Nietzsche talking about friendship, right? And I forget, we were joking around about this, and you brought up someone else who's not, even Nietzsche doesn't mention, and Montaigne or someone else. But it's a wonderful thing, isn't it, Mr. Fribley, that
James.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
We only can do what we do and be good, effective teachers if we are.
What's great about you fellows?
Because we have a friendship that allows us to say, okay, 14 weeks. We're gonna teach these books, which we don't even have an organization. He doesn't even bother to give us
really.
a sense of why and these books. Look, it's like, good luck, have fun. That's here we go, starting out. So I
it makes sense to me, despite the fact that it's
So I'm going to invite, other than you and I, because we're doing this, but one of the students. So let's see who this person is down here. Oh, you can't tell.
He's a smart fellow.
So who's wearing the red? Anyway, any of you who are students in this, you guys got to begin. Tell us or ask Mike a question. What's the organization? What are we doing here? Right? Because Mr. Fribley and I don't have the business of asking, but you do.
That's a totally fucked up question. I appreciate that.
Someone start out, please.
Oh, you're being shy.
I have been kind of wondering that the whole time.
That's good for you.
Good.
Yeah,
What
and I was kind of thinking, like, what could it be? And sometimes it made a lot of sense because it would be like, do like The Prince, and then you do Shakespeare, and be like, yeah, I can kind of see it. But then other times you're kind of like, well, I wonder why. But
Which one?
Well, he does want an answer. I think he does. I think he's saying, which one?
I think just like a whole through line.
What is your reasoning?
For what?
For the course. If you had to title it, had to organize it, what would it be?
These are different diagnostic routines that will tell me the ways in which your brain is fucked up. I know that's strange to you, but that's what they are. And then from the stuff you tell me, I'll be able to get a sense of what your problem is. And what I do, I know it sounds strange to you, is surprisingly therapeutic. I just ask.
So let's start with that. So what do you mean by, so the therapeutic
all
is
teaching
the end,
is healing.
is the end.
And all teaching is.
We'll talk about that a little then.
Look, if there were no people that didn't know what was going on, there'd be no point in having schools. And that's analogous to the fact that if there were no people that were sick or injured, there would be no point in having hospitals, because that's what schools are for, to fix the problem either of lack of knowledge rather than the problems with your body. So Plato was right about that.
Nietzsche is here we are, we're starting right in.
Well, no, Plato says that there's a real world to know, and that we have to make that initial bow, that Kierkegaardian bow to theory and practice to make that work, that what's reasonable is somehow connected to the real world. So, yeah, I think it's a religious 0 point. I think it's slightly mad. I think it's what Descartes was looking for. But I don't know that I would want to put the kind of weight on it that Descartes does. In other words, I don't think that it's impossible to have rational understanding of good and evil, of right and wrong. I think that natural law really exists. The problem is it's vague and funny the way Wittgensteinian language is. So you only get these general
so it is and it isn't.
family resemblances. And what we do when we do the practical sciences like ethics and politics or law, as I'm sure James knows, is find some way of glossing these words that allows us to get from point A to point B, regardless of what the intrinsic merit of it would be.
Absolutely. All right, so we haven't had a student's question yet.
Oh, you all look baffled. That's good.
Because we're 13 weeks out of 14, so where are we? Where have you come?
This is the point at which you should be baffled.
That's right.
I mean, it's like they say in a championship fight, if you're going to take any round off, take off the one before the last round. Because the last round...
How do you know it's the last round, though?
Right. The last round, you need to come out and kick some ass. Right? So if you can get some deep breaths and shit, you should do that. Right? And that's what I see here. Or let me move from boxing to a baseball metaphor.
No. Try a philosophical metaphor. No more sports.
No, I'm into
more
baseball
sports.
here. What I've seen from you guys is the intellectual analog of a bunt. Do you know what a bunt is, fellas?
Sure.
Right. Well, you're all bunted down the first baseline, and it may be inbound, in play, maybe out of play, but none of you guys are swinging for the
No, I get it.
the bleachers. Yeah, yeah, it's true though. So metaphor, all right, is
all right. So let's ask. So let's get some ideas. 13 weeks in, what's the course been about?
The history of thought in the Western world.
yeah.
Hold on. We didn't even get a sentence because that was just a statement. Would you put that in a sentence or even a good paragraph, please? You can do it.
I think Dr. Sugrue has become an internet figure because he's been talking about the history of thought for the past.
You're making statements. You got to just get one sentence out that's a claim. True. Whatever you're saying about Michael's true. Go ahead. Claim. You want to jump in? Say something for us.
It's to know where we are by learning. How are we to make sense of the world today without knowing how people made sense of the world before?
That's good. That's good. That's great. Right. That
occasionally
right?
You lay the good wood on the pitch.
That's really good. That. Right. That's so hard.
That's
good. And suppose Michael tells you he doesn't have the answer. I don't. No one does.
Jesus
it's still
does.
the right
I'm
question.
Not Jesus.
It's still the right question. Okay. Others.
It does sort of feel like it's structured around a protean dualism that I can't quite wrap my hands around, but you could say, reason, intuition, for example.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a little nervous to go forward. Anyone care to swoop in and save me?
Remember that, right? Of course, the principle of non-vacuous contrast. So when you have two things, if there's no way to distinguish them, that's a way for them to be the same. Right?
Yeah.
You see the problem there, okay? So either you're able to explain why any differentiation has a differentia in Latin, or everything is just the same in your Parmenides.
Okay.
So what do you want to do there? Your move.
All right, for the sake of argument, let's say everything is the same and nothing ever moves and nothing ever changes.
That would suck then, because
I
wouldn't
have
had
we got
information
Parmenides.
before.
Parmenides is chatting with us. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's just awful.
Go ahead.
Right? Because
come on, we haven't had the question yet.
it
Sorry.
doesn't make any difference. whether we get a question or not, it's all determinate, but it's none of it is real.
Folks, I'm
Because
sorry.
only
It's,
the one
it's all
is
my
real.
fault. This is all my fault.
Oh,
You brought us into
I know what I
lesser
brought us.
pre-Socratics. The problem is that being and becoming is a non-soluble problem.
yeah, Heidegger
It
jumps
generates-
around a lot.
Of
But this is the same thing. So
philosophical
everything is a non-soluble problem, but they're valuable somehow to talk about them. Even if
that's
they don't
where
solve-
we go with.
even if
with,
they're aphoretic, they're so valuable to talk about. That's why everyone's here.
That's where we go to Meister Eckhart. There's such a thing as meaningful nonsense.
Yes.
I know it really
feel that's
sucks.
just it.
It breaks Plato's heart, fucks up a lot of philosophers. But the mystics, I can give you
All right.
several from any
So
tradition.
let's try this.
But Meister Eckhart,
Start with this. So why did you assign Nietzsche? You know, we have another week, and I think it's great to have another week. We're going to have the feminine answer to this, but this is the last class in some way, really. So why did you assign Nietzsche, and what should everyone take from this? Why is this at the end of your course?
the fact that you think this is the last class, tells me much more about you than it does about the class.
I get that. Okay.
All right,
So once
let's straighten that right out, okay? Now, the problem is that Nietzsche frames what's wrong with the death of God. He said, well, if you think about it, you're not really stupid. That really sucks because all of reality collapses because the God's eye view is the real facts about nature. And once you got rid of that, there aren't any real facts about nature. There are only an infinite number of perspectives on nature, and none of them is authoritative. Doesn't that suck?
but that's not inspirational. And here we're
Okay, but that's my point.
we're assigning the last book.
That's
in a
why
whole
he
week.
doesn't come at the
Right.
end.
I know you are. Good.
All right, don't give me.
But even Nietzsche. But I think you can even do it with Nietzsche.
No,
What
this
did
is
you
where
do?
I lay it down, and I'm saying, look, this is what ails modernity, right? Finding our way, one way or another, out of this apocalyptic horror. I wish you all the best luck in the world. I actually haven't done bad. I'm old and I'm sick and I have advanced cancer,
Yeah.
but I'm lively for somebody who's completely fucked up.
Surprisingly lively, I confess.
Well, right. I
Fine-
mean, he
finding
came
it.
over to see me, and I hadn't seen
From New
Peter in
Zealand.
2 years.
Yeah.
From New Zealand. I'm in Florida. But he's a stand-up guy, and I'm glad that he was kind enough to be willing to teach all of you.
But here you are assigning Nietzsche, and you're playing Nietzsche and game. But I think you too have reservations. So if everyone here has read Nietzsche, I bet each of them have said, no, I don't want to agree with this. I don't know why, but I struggle with this. But you've assigned it, and I know you struggle with it too. So I think everyone
I
deserves
stopped
to hear
struggling
that.
long ago.
Why?
I tried translating this, or I did translate a big chunk of this when I was 23, getting ready for my language exams at Columbia. But the thing that happened is it occurred to me that this is insane, strange as that may seem. Now, the problem is not that Nietzsche doesn't make sense, it's that making sense isn't everything.
Right.
All right. So the idea of human equality.
So what isn't it? So what's lacking? What do you guys feel? So here, I'm not going to ask you. Let's ask them. So that's a great question, Mike. What do you guys feel is lacking in Nietzsche? Everyone here has read Nietzsche now, and I hope you've had a problem with Nietzsche. What is it? What's your problem with Nietzsche?
Solidarity.
Well, there's no love in Nietzsche. I mean, there's like love God, like your own God, but there's not like love of your neighbors, love of your friends, like love of your little dog in the street. It's like, no.
Do you have any
Mess.
of their pain?
Mess.
Do you
Let's-
have any
we gotta-
of their
We
pain?
got to hear everybody. We got to hear something more.
Yeah, you got to hear me.
Oh.
No, you don't. So tell me why you care. And then explain to me how rational it all is. And then tell me you're not a Christian.
But maybe
I hate it when that
but
happens.
maybe he is a Christian.
I know.
But so what's wrong with that? Maybe he
Look,
is a
it
Christian.
wouldn't be the first one on my on my
Sorry.
YouTube.
That's a good
Yeah,
point, yeah.
right. I mean, I don't disagree with
All right.
you.
So what other problems you guys with Nietzsche? Or is that it? Is that the who wants to pile on here?
Well, I think Nietzsche is responding to a world that has been colonized completely by instrumental reason, where the only reason that's employed is the reason that is meant to get something out of it. And it seems like that is all reason has resulted in.
That's right. We went to the moon because we could. That's a really Greek thing to do because nobody had ever been to the moon before. And that's really Athenian.
What about all the reasonable folks who have proven God, though?
What do you mean a proof in God?
Kant, right? Kant. What does Nietzsche have to say about Kant? Because it seems that
Religion
he's
within
super
the
reasonable and he's proven God. What's wrong with that?
religion
What's wrong
within
with
the
that?
limits of reason alone. Yeah, that is a book that fucked my brain. I have to admit, it has the best footnote in all of Western philosophy.
Right. It's the
I
idea
will
of a
just leave
footnote.
that to you.
Just think of the idea of a footnote.
Yeah, but it's the best footnote in the whole history of philosophy. I think that that's no small achievement.
Other problems?
Well, there are problems with everything.
Let's hear.
Right.
Other problems?
Well, from your lecture professor, you said he's a great destructive philosopher, but not a very good constructive one. He doesn't give us an alternative that we can abide by or live our lives by. He just leaves us waiting in these shallow waters surrounded by rubble, it feels like.
Who gave you the idea that you were entitled to an alternative? Doesn't that suck?
All right. So
I
now
guess.
answer the question.
All right, your brain is fucked
That is so
forever.
good. Oh my God, it is.
Nothing I can do with that. All right. Yeah, there has to be a way out because Jesus really loves me.
No, but so
What if
Brad,
not?
so Brad's asking for Nietzsche, from Nietzsche himself.
Yeah,
If he's destroyed this,
yeah.
doesn't he have to produce and to replace it? Doesn't he have to?
No, he doesn't have to. What is Jesus? Is Yahweh not going to like him then?
So that's
right.
interesting.
So he doesn't have to do anything. All he has to do is destroy stuff. That's philosophizing with a hammer. And you hear a lot of bullshit about that being the hammer on a tuning fork and all that crap.
Yeah,
This is
that's
philosophizing
right.
with a
It's a
hammer.
fucking
This is
anvil.
really Viking
I
shit.
agree.
Intellectually.
No, don't
All right?
don't take
So
any
this
of
is
that.
this is intellectual vandalism. And look, I admire that. He's like the last word in
But Brad's saying
edgy
he's
teenager.
He's a vandal. He's broken every glass. So
It's
Brad,
like,
so
like
Brad,
Ciara in works
stop.
for him.
Brad, ask her question again though, because you have a different question, right?
Well, okay, let me try it this way. I saw Professor Staloff gave a lecture on Nietzsche. I was 30 years ago, and he said, think of Nietzsche kind of like Oscar Wilde. He takes serious things lightly, light things seriously. And
Needs to be
like, okay, Oscar Wilde is really fun for a lark. And, he makes some interesting points, but he's not a philosopher who's the passport to the 20th century. I feel there's a deep irresponsibility that Nietzsche left us with nothing to build upon. And then we end up maybe with Nazis, because why not?
That's so true.
That's a messed up question. It makes a lot of sense.
So
Dr. Stella, go ahead.
All right. So I'm going to go with this. So that's right. So you've tapped into why. So Mike can say this. For me, I've read this 4 or 5 times. I've taught it a couple times. And in order to read a book, you have to read it before. And there is something in that which challenges us to ask ourselves, which we are we? And yeah, so what we were joking around about this when we first met this morning. Stupid us. We should talk about our kids and things. But first thing we're talking about is how misinterpretations are just what they are. If the Nazis take this as middle brow, what they want, they're going to do that, right? But it's just nothing to do with Nietzsche.
It's not an accident that Hitler, on Mussolini's birthday, gave him as a birthday present the complete edition of Nietzsche. He was not trying to expand his intellectual horizons. He said,
Well, he was. We thought he was.
No. He was expecting to have him say, okay, well, this is how fascism really works.
So we'll go back. So it's wonderful to talk to all of you who have read Descartes, which this is an answer to have read Machiavelli, and this is an interesting take on that too. So when you read Machiavelli, even in The Prince, you have to decide when he's talking to you, when you are part of the we and when you're not, and who he's talking to. And that's your real challenge. That's why you're involved in this. I do believe, Mike, actually, that's why folks come to you in the deep sense, is you're going to get actually a teacher who's going to give you hermeneutic without giving you ideology. And you never get that, right? You never, ever do. That's the craziness of the world today. And here you are in a place where you found someone who does exactly that. And so what you find here, right, in the gay science, like Machiavelli, you have to read the very few paragraphs where Machiavelli looks at you, straight at you, and says, you can be the prince, but we all understand that there's something else. You're just doing the right thing by everyone else when you're giving up yourself and being the prince. And I think Nietzsche is asking you the same thing. You must read this book. You must read every part of it and decide, is it we, is it us? And every time you think it's us, of course, it's a Socratic, fuck you, you don't know anything, but it is us, right? So you have to engage in the esoterica of the world that puts all the pressure on you folks out there. You guys are only pixels in our screen, but you out there, you know this. This is your grown-up you. You know the esoterica, when it's true, when it's bluff, who you really are. And Nietzsche asked you, Michael Sugrue, for me, all from the moment I met him at 17 years old, asked me, be yourself, be you, right? And that's the challenge for you guys, and you're up to it.
A teacher doesn't want to produce bad copies of himself. He wants to produce better examples of you. And he doesn't teach you for his benefit. He teaches you for your benefit, although you don't know it.
And now
right? Yeah. Well, no, you still don't know it.
Hey,
you're a long way from
my joke is this. How many students come to us and say, you know, I'm going to go to the gym because I'm going to build myself up. Would you go to the gym for me and lift my weights? You notice no one ever says that. And yet you get all these students here and they want us to do their intellectual weightlifting for them.
Well,
it can't happen. It's not
well, you know what I used to say to my students? When are these books scheduled to read themselves? I broke everybody's balls. I don't care if you like it. I am not interested in whether you're enjoying yourself.
Yes, you are.
When are these books
I don't want
scheduled to read themselves? And if they don't read themselves, well, when do you plan on reading them? And I used to get down on them pretty hard because I used to inform them that the depth of my disinterest in whether they were enjoying themselves or not makes the Grand Canyon look like a shot glass.
So why is that valuable?
Why is that valuable?
Why is it valuable?
Because I take no crap from any of them. They think that they're thinking, but they don't know how to think. So I want to gong them every once in a while and fuck up their brain and help them to learn how to think the world that they're in. So I'm not trying to teach you what to think. I'm trying to teach you how to think, which is why I have to fuck your brain up.
Yeah, I kind of feel the opposite. Sorry. We should get more.
Well, that's wrong.
Guys, chime in. So we're playing a little bit here. So ask some questions. We're pretty much at the end of the course. We're going to do Dostoevsky next week.
Christ, we're way beyond the end of the course.
So what do you think is the idea here? Why did you join the course? What was the idea of the course?
You know, I have a question about this book. Can I throw that out there real quick? So we talked earlier about the eternal recurrence. When I go to aphorism number 9, it ends with, all of us harbor concealed gardens and plantings. And to use another metaphor, we are, all of us, growing volcanoes that approach the hour of their eruption. And how near or distant that is, nobody knows, not even God. So we have the eternal recurrence. We have this with the volcano. we have Judgment Day. And I like to think of the Egyptian Judgment Day, where your heart has to be lighter than a feather. And so what I'm trying to say, like when I think about all those things together, I think that now is our Judgment Day. Once you reach a certain level of consciousness, like we are in our Judgment Day right now. Everything we do, we are judged by. Nothing is hidden, because whatever we do, like these volcanoes, will erupt. So like, if I decide to play video games, right, that manifests itself in my life because I made that choice rather than something else. So we are in, and that's how I say it to myself. We are in Judgment Day right now. Every moment is an act of judgment, which is, you know, it determines our future. But yeah, so I you know, if you have any thoughts about that, I'd love to hear.
Yeah, you have found a way to live in the presence of the Lord. Stop there. That's a full stop. You found a way to live in the presence of the Lord. And that's how you know you're really centered. This is what Descartes wants, but in a rational way. I don't think rationality is going to get you there, but I think that the other side of your brain might. And what that does is ground you in a focal way. And it's not a question of whether whatever beliefs you attach to it to get you there, because I view religion as a kind of language. I'm not interested in what language you use, like a computer. I'm interested in what you're saying in the language. So what our later years teach us is how fallible we are. And we think we're in charge, but grown men don't believe that. I wish you well, but I think there's wisdom that's not the same as reason. And I might be right, which would be really fucked up.
So how do you live with the fact of as you say, a silly, funny, laughable, gay mortality and seriousness?
It's easy.
And how serious?
It's easy.
And there's meaning in life. Why aren't you telling everyone that we're all dead?
Fuck that. That's kid shit. The fact of the matter is, a grown man, when he looks at the world around him, is nothing but grateful for the fact that he is not some bit of interstellar dust on the other side of the universe, a zillion light years from here. In fact, somehow, some way, you figure it out yourselves. So this interstellar dust got together and decided that it would think about itself and also interstellar dust, which is a really fucked up thing to do. Now, why God should have been so kind as to allow me to do that, I have no idea. But I'm not going to shake my fist at God or at nature, because in fact I can't win a battle with each. So instead, I'm just going to take what comes my way and be grateful for what I got. Because if you're angry with God or with nature, that's one way of defining what it means to be insane.
So someone reads Nietzsche and you realize once you read him, you can't be mad at God and nature, right? That's it. It's over.
There's nothing to be mad at, right?
If he's not, then you're not, right?
Well, you can find something else to be mad at. It doesn't make any difference.
So he's just no. So
nationalism, internationalism, it doesn't matter.
So read the aphorisms, read
Nietzsche sucks as a poet and as a singer.
Right. So
that's one of God's.
So I'm with this. By the way, first of all, that's why I stopped. You guys caught me on that. Don't read Nietzsche as a singer. Like none.
All right, 7:02. We're back at 7:05.
But the aphoristic is okay.
Turn it off
at the beginning. And so the aphoristic is good. And so there, I think you have to decide to be playful. And this is your great challenge. This is what I think Mike is saying. I don't know what you're saying, actually, so I give it up. But what I'm saying is, in that wonderful space in between, every moment, and this is, again, So I think Nietzsche reads all of his references to Western ideas, historians, everything, spot on. I don't ever, except for one. I don't think he reads Socrates accurately. And this leads me to Socrates. And
We're 703.
you're going to want to say something straight away, I know. Is that every single time everyone else is crying, such as Socrates' death, which is what Nietzsche quotes in end of book 4. I don't know what number it is, but end of book 4. They're crying and he's laughing. And that's where one place Nietzsche misreads anybody. He doesn't read Socrates well. He doesn't get it, does he?
No.
So if you have...
Let's talk in 3 minutes.
Tell us why in 3 minutes, why Nietzsche gets Socrates wrong there. It's wrong, isn't it?
Stop breaking my balls. There we go.
You just quit him?
Yeah, I think I did.
I thought I just set you up.
I think you did great.
But anyway. Whee!
You're still on.
All right, we are?
Yep.
Oh, that's good. I mean, oh, good. Sorry about that. He just took a walk, but where
I
were
think
we?
he's more than entitled to a walk.
Always, and struggling, and maybe I pushed him the wrong way, but
I hope it's. I mean,
no,
like,
it's
my gratitude for this whole course is just.
well. Sometimes you found Michael, and that's the key thing, and I think Nietzsche begs us because there is no one who understands, in my view, thinks better than Nietzsche, and he doesn't quite get Socrates. And funny enough, it's Michael, in my conversations with him, who brought me to a Socrates that is not Nietzsche's read. So I'll just quickly run that by you guys. That Socrates is the person, when everyone is crying, who laughs. And that's what Aesculapius a cock is all about. Sorry, Friede, and is that he laughs. But, and this is the key thing, and you guys are onto this a little bit, a number of you, is that when everyone else is laughing, and so Nietzsche talks about being the jester all the time. We philosophers, joyful wisdom. But when everyone else is laughing, and that happens, that's when Socrates gets serious and says this means something. And this is the great challenge we have, is that every time everyone's laughing, we want to remind everyone it is life. And everyone you ever meet and everyone you ever interact with, that's valuable. That's invaluable. You can't laugh at that. That's everything. And yet, on the other hand, when everyone is crying, as Nietzsche points out to us, when they're crying, what the hell? That's the time to laugh. That we must have. If there's any philosophy, it's joyful, it's gay, it's laughter. And the reason we have laughter is any time we have an answer, we know we're merely human, so we have no answer. And this is what Michael laughed at me about. When I was a serious young person, very capable, he laughed at me and said, "You think you know anything?" And as soon as I realized I don't know anything, there was the danger of nihilism. And so Michael brought me back to that is not acceptable. So guess what? While it is true that it's ironic and intellectual to laugh at everything, that's not the answer. When everyone else is laughing, you remind yourself.
So if somebody is slipping into a nihilism, how do you pull them out? And I mean this to say, as I'm playing around the internet, reading comments, I see a lot of nihilism out there.
Seems like Nietzsche's arguing that only you can pull yourself out.
But that's no answer. So that's why we hate Nietzsche. That's the reason. He can't spend 10 years on a mountain alone and then decide to come down. Fuck him. The bottom line is it's friendship. That you must either start, I don't know how it comes, but you must have anything that's not you. And that's love. Right? That's love. And you have to find that. You have to find anything. And Nietzsche. So this is, I think, why Michael has assigned these 14 books to us. And we've talked about this in my little group, is that there is nothing that's not dialogic. That's why we start with Gorgias. That's why we have the Book of the Courtier. That's why we have Iago and Othello, who says, honest Iago. Michael is telling us anything we do, if it's not communicative with child or wife or husband or lover or friend, it's nothing. Find other people. Talk to them. No matter what it is, it must be between people. I think that's actually what's behind these 14 texts that I've been given. I didn't choose. I did not choose any of these, Michael. It's just this. So guys, I can't tell you how much this man is when Nietzsche says the last thing we lose is our desire for fame. I was 17 when I met Michael, and he had already somehow in him lost the last thing that Nietzsche says is our path to divinity. He had already looked at me the day I met him and looked at my soul and said, I'm the most brilliant person you'll ever meet. And if I don't want to, I'll never publish anything and ever, because I never met anyone like that. You're lucky you met him. All right, I think we're done.
I have one more
Say
question.
goodbye. Come over here, say goodbye. I'll come over here to this.
You're off.
Oh, no. All right, Jenny, how do we shut off? How do we say goodbye?
However you would like to. If you're
I'd like my
today, you could just hit
Come
leave.
on here, say goodbye.
No.
All right, well, we'll have him next week. Guys,
Thank you.
it's been a pleasure.
Thank you
so
for
much.
running all of
Thank
this.
you so much.
Thank you, Peter.
Enjoy everybody.
Thank you.